Hello, everybody. Happy Thursday, 10th of August. It's a little before 1:30 in the afternoon. Just getting some final dice stuff done as I wrap up the Kickstarter. I thought I had made enough, but there were a couple of dice that casted wrong. And when I set up the tiers on Kickstarter, one of the tiers didn't automatically allocate dice to it. So then when I went to do the inventory, it was like, wait a minute. Hi, Abigail. Good afternoon. Hope everyone's doing well today. While I'm sitting here working, feel free to ask any questions. I got to get these ready to go, and then I can start shipping out box sets again. Hey, bro, Mr. Castro. Last day of summer vacation. We still got 2 weeks for our kids. 2, 3. They go back on like the 28th. 2.5 weeks. I'm excited. They're sick of us. They are so sick of us. Which is, sensible because, we're boring adults that have to work and, they're kids who just want to play. So, they're ready. Because, my wife Leah and I both work from home. Right? We basically just have to like trade the kids off all day during the summer, and we just gotta like hustle back and forth to work. Timmy, you're sitting by your mailbox. It's coming. Should be there soon. Take a little bit later. So it's like they say 5 to 8 days, and I think I only know of one or maybe 2 sets that's actually arrived. Full box sets. The partial box sets have already started arriving, and the individual. So that's cool. Kids go back next Wednesday. Man, they start early now, huh? That's crazy. Starting earlier, ending later, and for what? Public school system is tough right now. Mr. Goblin Yerba Mate. So has anybody got any interesting questions or boring questions for that matter? I did not want to be making these. With making these. Not that I don't like doing them. They're fun. I still enjoy making them. But I really thought I was going to be able to dedicate this time to writing Diggory, but I had to pause that. And then, of course, they take time to mix and then cast and then paint and then finish like I'm doing right now, where I make sure all the extra trim is off, make sure there's no big paint from the numbers, polish them, all that jazz. Yerba mate! How many individual dice have you had to make for this Kickstarter? Holy guacamole. I needed 30 complete sets of 9, so that's 270 dice, individual dice. And then I think I had about 20 individual sets of 3, so probably another, say, 60 to 90. Ooh, 13 sets here, so that's another 100 or so. So I like call it 500 dice. And I can only cast 20 every 24. My pressure pot is set up in the way I have molds made. I could have sunk more money into making molds to cast them faster, but the problem is I can't finish them that fast. I can't like take a raw die and get it to, painted and numbered and cleaned up and stuff as fast as I can make them at that point. So making 20 a day is actually probably like a good clip because I can keep up with 20 a day. I've been working on these at night with my wife watching TV. Hey, Mr. Lee. Yeah, this is by far and away the most amount of dice I've had to make. When I did the Diggory Kickstarter with the Diggory dice, I think I sold there were sets of 6 dice. It was 5 D6s and then a D20. So six dice a set, and I think I sold 40 sets. So that was, 250 dice, something like that. And that was the biggest to date. And this by far and away eclipsed it. The good news is because these are 6s, it's only 6 sides per die, as opposed to like on a D20, it's a 20-sided die. So I'm painting 20 numbers on every one. So these finish a lot faster. And also from a sanding standpoint, if I like it, there's a flaw. It's far less sides to worry about. On a 20-sided die, I got to check 20 facets. On a 6-sided die, I only got to check 6. The math is much kinder. Kickstarter, Lickstarter. Yep, that's true. Bad rabbit. What paints do I use for the dice? I various different kinds, all acrylic, water-based acrylic. Nothing really expensive. In fact, the expensive paints don't work any better than the. So I as a miniature painter, a gamer, I have a ton of like high-end miniature paints, which are like $6 for like this, this little lasts forever because you're painting really small things. But stuff like this works great too. This is just like the Liquitex water-based acrylic that you can get at Michael's, and like this container is like $8, and it's like 4 times the size of the other one, and it works fine. The like folk art paints that you can get in the cheap aisle, fine too. Want to buy pesos? I might actually, because winter's coming up pretty soon, and I'm gonna need paper to start fires. So I'll take some pesos for that. Need a D20 with the Jinx Fairy 1. I do have D20s with the Jinx Fairy on the 1, but I don't have Otis on the 20. Otis could not fit. It's too small. So I didn't want to try and rehash a new Otis just for dice. But I do have the Jinx Fairies, which are cool. And I haven't opened those up for commission yet because they were part of the Kickstarter, working on the sets that people ordered for Kickstarter, which is really fun. These look pretty good today. Next, Nikolai Weiskol. Seen some. Haven't heard of Angelus supplies. I don't know how they would work on leather. When they dry, I think it can crack if the leather is like intended to be supple. Like I think when the paint dried, it might, go south on you. Although maybe it's flexible enough. Who knows? The thing with painting these dice, the numbers, right? They're all recessed, right? So I got to get the paint into the recess, and then I needed to coat the sides, right? So like the numbers are, the bottom, and then the recess. So my paint, it needs to stick to all the different sides. So I need the paint to actually have some body to it. It has to be a little thick. Otherwise, it just runs down into the cavity of the number, and the sides don't fill in. The number is much harder to read. So the general school of thought is that when you're using water-based acrylic paints, you're supposed to thin it with water to make it more less viscous. But I actually need the viscosity for it to stick, because again, I don't want it to run down. Gradation for the walls. Hey, Nayoka. How's Montana? I'm already halfway done with trimming these. Yay. Leah just took the girls out to go to the car dealership. We bought a new car a couple weeks ago and didn't want to, but our car died. And they, the chip shortage thing they got going on with new cars, they only had one key fob for us, and they don't make the second key fob until the car sells. So we bought the car with one key fob, and they just told us that our second key fob to go get the second key fob activated, because right now we just have one, and my wife has claimed it as her own. So I don't even have a key to the new car. But it's a high-tech fandangled thing. It's like driving a spaceship. You can actually control it with your phone through the app. It's crazy. Montana is gorgeous today. The Blue Angels are out practicing and keep flying over your house. That's awesome. That's really cool. We get some Air Force stuff out here, not a ton. A lot of refueling tankers. Portsmouth, which is about like an hour's drive from here, has Pease Air Force Base, and Pease Air Force Base is the home of a refueling wing. Like all the stuff going over the Atlantic gets refueled out of here. I'm flying over, but they don't look any different than a regular like airline. So, and then Westfield, Mass, which is probably an hour, 2 hours away, something like that, is home of the Civil Defense Force. They scramble a jet because someone on an airliner said bomb. Those are where the East Coast jets come from. And I think there's also an A-10 wing there for the Warthog. But yeah, not that exciting here. We are in the path of the Manchester airport. So we do get some like jets flying over. More lately, because I guess they're fixing a runway. So they're diverting a lot of traffic to the runway that our house is on the approach for. So been hearing a lot more planes. Still not that many. Manchester's not the busiest airport. Putting on a show up here this weekend. Oh, that's cool. I've been to an air show with my dad a long time ago, but I haven't been since. See those like air show crashes, and I'm like super gun shy to go sit under these guys acting like buffoons in really expensive, fancy, fast planes. I mean, I'm sure it's cool. I want to go, but at the same time, it's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna die. Or not. Maybe not. Whatever. So what's new with anybody? Do we have any good news to share? Anything you want to brag about? Let's hear it. I don't have anything to brag about here other than bought a new car, which was very nerve-wracking. Stuff is so expensive. And we're not car people. Like, I know enough about cars, that it's okay, but like we're not mechanical stuff anywhere near as much as a lot of guys do. And I don't care about like horsepower or looks necessarily. I just want a car that I fit in because I'm a big dude, and a lot of cars I'm just not comfortable in. So we wanted 4-wheel drive because we live in a relatively small town and we drive roads and stuff, and didn't really care. But we got a really nice car. Pretty happy with it. Very happy with it, I should say. Chris Barnes got bored and started making moonshine. That's awesome. That is awesome. I don't know if he's made any recently, but man, he made like award-winning mead. It was so cool. Like he brought it to like the mead Olympics or I don't know what they called it, but the Home Brewers Association. He took like silver with the last stuff I know he made, and it was really, really good. Moonshine. What goes in moonshine? Do you just like drain like a bottle of isopropyl? Like what do you do? Grain liquor, I imagine. Now, well, nothing much. You have a pre-presidential election today or the Sunday. Snafu. Yeah, you guys are a mess, dude, down there. Like every time I see Argentina in the news, it's like bad news. Your economy's in shambles. Your politics are a mess. Sorry about that. Melissa. Enforces ladies giveaway. So when you win. Yay! Good for you, Melissa. Hopefully you win. I'm rooting for you. Never been in Colorado. Would like to go. I got some friends who live out there, whom I haven't seen in a very long time. It would be great to see them. I'm not a skier, so I default to thinking of Colorado as a skiing destination only, as opposed to just a place I could go. One of these days, it would be nice to go to the Denver Comic-Con because that's a big show. Denver's a big city, so. But alas, I have not been invited, and I think booths are crazy expensive. Flake corn, sugar, and yeast. Interesting. Yeah, Denver got so expensive. It's like it's in here. It's in real estate, and now it's creeping up to where we live. I live about an hour northwest of Boston. It used to be like there was a limit to where the Boston real estate creep was, right? It was like, all right, if you passed Interstate 95, everything outside of 95 is reasonable. Everything inside 95 is unreasonable, and now it's all the way up here. It's crazy. We are now considered a suburb of Boston. Boots are. Jamie, you need me to come to you? Shouldn't you be hiding in a bush outside my house right now? Step it up. Your husband's a cop. Surely he's got some kind of like connections to get you up here, right? I do want to come down to the Carolinas, though. I got one of my good friends lives in South Carolina, and I would love to visit him and his wife and kids sometime. He's got girls the same age as mine, and I used to see him every year at the Walk for the Wounded event for Operation First Response, but they stopped doing the walk because Nick, the guy who was running the charity, actually passed away from cancer. He got really sick, so they had to dial back the events. And now I don't know what they're going to do. That was in Philly. Planet Comic-Con. The hell is Planet Comic-Con? In Kansas City. I've flown to Kansas City. I've just like passed through in the airport, but I've never actually stayed. I'm sure by now most of you have seen that I posted that I'm going to Texas in October. I'm going to be in Austin for flying in on the 6th and flying out on the 9th. And we're going to be at 2 Austin area comic stores, Dragon's Lair and Titan Moon Comics. And I'm going to be signing copies of that comic book Bad Wabbit with Anthony Castro, the guy who invented it and published it. So that'll be a lot of fun. I've already had a bunch of people reach out to me saying that they're coming. At least 4 or 5 people. Great. Starting book 13, Scott. Book 13. Just wait till you get to 14. Although book 13 is good. I like book 13. The appearance of a friendly face in 13. People gather around to gawk at Uranus. Yep. Or are you speaking of the celestial body, Uranus? Oh, you got to work today, Jamie. Aw, poor thing. A real stalker would skip work. Just saying. I get the B grade stalkers. I get the dollar store stalkers. They're like, yeah, he seems cool, and I think I might chain him up and kill him, but I don't know. I got to work. I don't get the A grade stalkers. Jamie, you got to step. When in Texas, mind your hat. Yeah, we don't go out during the day down there in the summer. October won't be too bad. It'll be a lot better. I used to travel down to DFW all the time. Before I met my wife, I had a girlfriend whose family lived down there. We would travel down probably every 3 months, stay for a week. And that was cool. A lot of fun. I like that area a lot. Still can't believe you blame me for not being able to come down. Yes. Well, Nick, yeah, I'm just saying, dude. You should have known. Shoulda known. Kansas City. Nyoka says it's big as hell. Kansas City is not big as hell. Might be big as hell by you Midwesterner standards, but until you hit a real big city, bailed from her because you dreamed of me having a live today. Not well. See, that's real stalker shit. Jamie, pay attention. He bailed on work today. He had a feeling. How cool is he? He had a feeling. I think he's lying, but it still feels really nice. Trying to put together some mini desk calendars. Oh, show them. Share them on Yonka. Please, I would love to see them. The group has a wonderful history of supporting people in it too. So share them in the Ring family, please. I would like that. And you never know what could happen. It might sell really well, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh shit. It happened to me with writing. Let's just try this bullshit, see what happens. Here I am, 13 years later. Yeah, get together with Noel. Good job, Jamie. He's in Argentina, though, so make sure you get a good long distance plan. Y'all remember when telephones you had to worry about long distance calls? People would come over and be like, hey, can I use your phone to make a call? Is it long distance? And now, everyone's got their own phone and no one gives a shit. Make sure you dial 1. Kansas City isn't the biggest. Yeah, compared to the biggest town in Montana. Yeah, you're right. It's all. Please, yeah, share the calendars. I would love to see them. What else is new with people? I got still got a heap and pile of books here to sign. I'm actually flanked by the Great Wall of Booka right here. I don't know if you can kind of see these fellas right here. This stack is this high, 14 books tall. And I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I have 15 sets here. That'll be shipping out hopefully tomorrow. But they are waiting on some dice. So also in a fun twist of fate, when I opened up the remainder boxes of sets, I found out that they shipped me the incorrect totals of books. And I hadn't opened all the boxes yet because I didn't want to like make a gigantic mess of the basement here. So yeah, I just checked to make sure I got the right amount of boxes and just kind of trusted that they sent the right, stuff. And they undershipped me book 5s. And they sent me extras of 4, 6, and 7 in the exact number of book 5s. Hey, Carl. So I was like, well, now what? Like I can't do anything with these 4s, 6s, and 7s because in order for them to make a set, I have to order more 1s, 2s, and so on. So I messaged him, was like, hey guys, I kind of need the rest of those book 5s because now I got books I can't do anything with and sets that I can't complete. So they rushed them out. I should have them in a couple of days. Because the last straggler sets are still waiting on stuff to be done anyway. So it isn't actually affecting the timeline of how everything is shipping. Just, another snafu. Abigail going back to school. Yeah, the restaurant industry is tough. Service is a bitch. Yeah, they'll show. They've been really great. They've made a couple of mistakes on stuff. I'm okay with it. I don't expect it to be perfect. I just expect you to fix it if you make a mistake. And they've been fantastic. Like they don't argue. They own it and they immediately fix it. So, what are you going back to school for, Abigail? I would make the joke about hooked on phonics, but sure. And, it's never too late to go back and learn what you want to learn. What press did I order from? So I started using a new company. My cover designer has been testing called Book Vault. And they're out of the UK. And they make a pretty wide array, and it's a hybrid of print on demand and offset. So like you can get smaller quantities printed via offset than through a regular printer. They spec it, and their prices are pretty good from like a wholesale standpoint, and the quality is fantastic. Like the books are pristine. Take care, Melissa. Doing what I'm doing. I am trying. Board of Accounting. Oh, boring old accounting. I get it. I wish you luck with that. Accounting makes me want to kill myself. I cannot handle that kind of work. If it's like my own accounting, sure, because I'm invested. But the second I got to start counting other people's money, no thanks. Or paying other people's bills. That sounds like work. But I am glad for you. Accounting is a job that is in high demand, and I hope you love it. Congratulations and good luck. Anyway, Nick, Book Vault was the company that and they they've been great. The whole account creation process has been good. The proofing process has been good. The turnaround times have been really good. Their customer service has been fantastic on the couple of things that I've had issues with. Um, really, really user friendly. And what's important for me is they integrate directly as a distributor as well. So once now that I've got all these books printed for me to sign and then ship out, I can then toggle a switch with them, and they automatically start distributing it to retailers. So when I hit the switch, all of these hardcovers that I got made for the Kickstarter will then go into the retail supply chain. So bookstores and libraries and online retailers like Amazon or Barnes and Noble, they'll just automatically populate straight in, which is huge. And they have an automated like website purchase system. So I can get links that lead straight to them that I can put on my website, where I can just say, yeah, if you want the hardcovers, just go to my website. And you buy directly from them through me, and it cuts out the middleman, and then they ship it direct. Now, granted, those wouldn't be signed by me, but if you were just looking to buy a hardcover, that would be really cool. So that takes a lot of the legwork on my end out. This is the stuff that, when people want to be an author, they don't think about, right? Like, if you actually want to be a writer, it's a business. It's a business. You got to treat it like a business. And work. It's not hard necessarily, but it is time consuming. But yeah, Book Vault. Spark for their hardcovers and then their mass distribution. But I see so many complaints about Ingram. Like, people just complaining about how, authors specifically complaining about how Ingram their service is just not there. Like, if something goes wrong, they're basically like, oh, tough shit. So I that's one of the primary reasons why I haven't gone down the hardcover route, because I just never really wanted to work with Ingram. And the other big company that is expensive. Like, you can't make hardcovers at a price that people can afford to buy. And I don't see the point in putting out a book that people can't afford to buy, right? Like, if I have to price it too expensive, then no one's going to buy it anyway. So, like, why bother? But these guys, they're new. They've only been around like a year, but they're doing great. I'm very happy with them. They just opened up a U.S. Print and distribution facility for a whole bunch of the stuff that they make. So these books had to come from the UK. I had hoped that they were going to be able to be made here, but they were all made in the UK and then shipped here, which is really expensive, which is part of the reason why the hardcovers and the Kickstarter were more expensive than what the retail will be. But in the future, I can set up the hardcovers to ship from America, which will mean everybody gets them a couple days faster, and shipping up. They have like an importer, a broker, that they can ship massive quantities of stuff through. So they don't have to pay the crazy normal rates for shipping that, when I send a book to the UK, it's like $18 a book. Like, it's just $18 a book. But because they have a freight broker that gets it through customs, and they ship, 10,000 books all in one big, airplane or whatever, they can get it down to like $4 or $5 a book, which is really fantastic. The deal is, though, is you got to order like 60 books at a time, which for me isn't a problem generally, because when I'm ordering books, I'm usually restocking my shelves, or in this case, I'm ordering 500. for the Kickstarter. So writing is the art, publishing. Oh yeah, writing is the art, publishing is the business. That's correct. That is an excellent way to put that. I mean, I think that's also why a lot of writers try to do the traditional publishing route, because they don't have the business savvy or don't have the time or the interest. And, that's all fair. That's all a rather legitimate reason to not want to be an indie writer, because you do get to deal with it all yourself. And it is a lot of work. That being said, it's fun. What else is new with everybody? Is anybody reading any good books or listening to anything different or new? Any new TV shows anybody's watching? I just started watching the new Justified on Hulu. I got through the first episode. It was good. I love that character, Raylan Givens. It's fun. Modern Wild West show, basically. Now he's in Detroit, so he's a fish out of water Wild West show. But it's fun. What else? We just watched, we finished The Bear, which was really good. And we are watching, we haven't, Fukushima disaster, which is okay. It's all right. It's like watching the Titanic. I know how it ends, but the drama is pretty good. Hopefully it's real. Carl, listening to The Storyteller, Dave Grohl's memoir. Highly recommended. Dave Grohl seems like such a cool dude. Zom 100. Zom 100 is both good. Like people were tanking it in some of the groups that I'm in. Haven't done Zombieverse either. Love The Bear. Yeah, The Bear's awesome. The second season was good. The first season was great. Like, we watched the first season, we're like, wow, that was really good. And they actually managed to like up their game on the second season, which is almost unheard of. Usually it's like the second, and the second season has like a kind of awkward first episode because they're like catching you up to where the characters are, and then it just like really sinks into some amazing character stuff. Like, the characters on that show are so good. It's really fun. I absolutely loved the first two books in the Strain trilogy. I didn't really care for the third. I am intrigued to hear your opinion, Yoke. One Bad Roll by Ryan Rimmel. What's it about, Chris? It is a realistic representation. Yep. The Bear is about a really, really, really fancy, like, Michelin star executive chef who returns home to Philadelphia to take over the family restaurant, which is basically just a shop. And he finds out that his brother was like embezzling from the business and, just like kind of running it into the ground. He was a mess. And he takes it over, and like initially it's just like how the hell do we keep this place in business? And then, as thing goes on, he's like, you know what, we're taking this to a new level. And he decides to like upgrade the roast beef shop into like a legitimate, like, 4 or 5 star place. Characters are great. Yeah, book 1 is fantastic. Book 1 of The Strain was like, I read that and was like, God, this is really cool. It's like zombie apocalypse or vampire apocalypse. Really cool. The show is solid too. They adapted it, and it was pretty good. Like, obviously they had to change some stuff from the books, but on its own, it was a solid TV show. Yeah, it's very the first 2 books are very grounded in like believable scenarios with like how it kind of come to be. You know, obviously it's fiction, but like the way they do it, it feels like it's very possible. That's Guillermo del Toro, and I will watch or read literally anything that that man has had a hand in because I just love his style. There are certain creators out there that, like, if they've got a hand in it, I'm gonna give it a shot. You started the show. Yeah, I get distracted all the time. I have like 6 shows that I'm like in process. Maybe I'll finish one of them. Maybe. So normally when I'm doing stuff like this, when I'm like working on the dice or whatever, I'll have a show going in the background. And like right now, I'm just cleaning numbers on the face of the die with a Q-tip and some rubbing alcohol, just getting any excess ink or paint off the front of it. I don't have to be looking right at it, right? So I can put a TV show on. I'm here chatting because I haven't done a live in a long time, and Facebook informed me that I needed to put content up because I'm a creator now. I'm a content creator. So fan. Fuck brunch. Yeah, Hellboy 3. Ugh. I am so unhappy that he couldn't get the financing for At the Mountains of Madness, because like that story is like the pinnacle of cosmic, and his hot take on Lovecraft is like, you know like I was so excited when I heard he was working on it. I saw they did a sizzle reel for it. They did like a CGI, kind of like concept scene of the creatures coming awake or something. I saw it. I was like, oh my god, it's so cool. I started taking on a radiator. Ooh, got more mechanical skills than I do, that's for sure. Probably an hour. And Leah will be back with the kids, and they'll be eating up the bandwidth, doing stuff upstairs, and making a shit ton of noise, and probably coming and bothering me, and daddy, daddy, daddy. Which I love, but doesn't make for a very good live stream. What else did we watch? I started watching anime on Netflix the other day. I haven't watched anime in forever, but I saw a clip of it on TikTok, and it looked really cool. It's called Yakitori, and it's about it's a science fiction, far-flung future where human space conglomerate that basically just like took our planet and turned it into property, and now it's a third world country, and humans are basically like labor, their interest. So we're basically just like physical labor or food, they said, and that hasn't actually come up in the show, but it's pretty good. The writing is okay. The animation's gorgeous. In like episode 2, I think. It's only 6, so I used to be much. I used to watch anime regularly, but one thing is that I think the quality has dropped. Like I feel like anime used to be like much more adult and much more mature, but in like a good way. And I think a lot of the last 4 or 5 years of anime is just kind of dropped. Not much. It's not that good. So Yakitori's pretty good. Hitchhiker's Dystopia. Yes. Yeah, that would be a good way to kind of explain it. It has like Starship Troopers kind of feel with like, the Space Federation and, fighting for the greater good, and it's got elements of like post-capitalism where these people are like blindly fighting for the Federation, and they're trying to like quell civil unrest that's like making things dangerous, and they start to realize like, well, these people who are rebelling are problem, right? Because like now that we see the way that they're treating you, like this is not good. So, that's okay. The main human character is not well written. Like his dialogue, but I'll make do. We My wife is a junkie for A24 movies. Like that's her jam. Like weird, offbeat, kind of culty, strange stories, that kind of thing. And we've been watching a ton of A24 movies. A24 is a production company, and they have a very distinct, uh, like a little offbeat, a little strange, um, that kind of stuff. And they make like they broke big. Terry and Midsummer and The Witch, which are some of the better horror movies I think that have come out in the last 10 to 15 years. Um, so they got that kind of weird. Movies are dark. Even their dramas are like very um, offbeat, like Woody Allen, but good. I do not care for Woody Allen, by the way, for many reasons. Anyway, we just rewatched Hereditary, and my wife is currently obsessed with Beau is Afraid, which is a very weird movie. It is just weird, but it's one of those movies that you can't possibly comprehend everything that's going on the first watch through, because it's a guy who did Hereditary and Midsummer, but it's not really a horror movie. It's more of like a character journey, hero's journey kind of a thing. And his movies are really layered and dense, and he uses a lot of visual stuff um, that, like, on the first watch through, you can't see it all. Like, you just can't. There's just too much, and it's like too well hidden. So Beau is a movie that we've probably watched. It's a movie, okay, just for the record. It's 3 hour long, and movie night. You can, yeah, I can do that. I can host with Amazon now, I think. Um, but it's a 3 hour long movie. We watched it 3 times now, and every time we see new stuff, which makes it reachable, because we discover that something was going on in this scene, or hey, that guy is at the end of the movie is actually in the first scene, but he's wearing eyes, and you start to see like how complicated this conspiracy story is that this character. Yeah, that's been pretty fun. It's definitely not for everybody, but we enjoyed it. And like I said, my wife is obsessed. Like she would wear Beau is Afraid merch. Like I've debated getting her like A24 swag as gifts. And I might. I still might. Her birthday's coming up. They did The Lobster, which is like a really weird offbeat comedy. They did Moonlight, I think it's called, the one that won the Oscar. About the gay black experience. That was a good movie. Hard to watch, but good, really good. Anybody watching anything else or reading anything else? Pimp yo shit. What about my stuff? Is anybody reading anything of mine? Or trying anything new of mine? I always interested when people finish a series of mine and then decide to pivot to something else because it makes it worth it, more worth it, honest worth. Not a series guy here. What do you mean, like book series? All AUD. Teach me. I don't know. Listened to the bleed, the first bleed. That was a fun series to write. It was really neat to co-author something, especially with people that I respect. That was really fun. Dave and Mark are both like pretty substantial names in the industry too. Like David's got a movie. Granted, it's not very good, but still, one of his books got made into a movie. That's pretty cool. And he's just a good writer. The Phone, yep. The Dry Earth trilogy. Hopefully I can finish the third book of that soon. I would love to do that. I hate having a series unfinished. Those are such fun books to write because they're, quote unquote YA, but it's basically just my writing with less swears. And I don't glorify any of the gore or anything like that. Mark's a favorite, yeah. Mark's such a good dude too. Like he and I have hung out a bunch, and he's just a good guy. I am very pleased that he has been as successful as he is, because he's a good dude. Plus, his wife Tracy's hot shit. She's fun. Granite Con. This is before the bleed, so this is probably like 2017, something like that. He and I did Granite Con together because Willow was tiny. We shared a booth, and that was a lot of fun. We had a really good showing. At the same booth was like big draw. We had people coming like all the way from like Ohio just to hang out with us. We did a little meet and greet at the hotel bar afterward. That was a lot of fun. We had 18 people for it. That was fun. Yeah, the thing about YA is like a lot of people hear YA and they think it's for kids. Like it's specifically written for kids, but it isn't. It's a story that's so suitable for kids. So there's a lot of accessibility there and like keeping things a little bit more appropriate and palatable, minimal or non-existent, which, not every book needs to have a bone in it. Timothy. Yeah, I've never done Timothy. Never. But here we are. So what else is new, people? Well, on my end, I got like one, maybe two more big shipping days to finish out the Kickstarter. And then there's a couple of like Johnny come lately packages that are waiting on very specific things, specifically custom dice that people ordered, which take a longer time to create. But that, you know, the bulk of it will be gone hopefully by Saturday, and then I'll be free and clear of that for the most part. I gotta set up the online AUD role playing game group for the people who are going to play in it, and we're gonna hash that out and then figure out how we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it live. Creepy clowns. We're gonna do the role playing game live, so people will be able to watch. You'll be able to watch us play and see how the game, you know, kind of hashes out in real time. And my hope is that the story that, you know, comes up with the game can become canon. Like maybe I can turn it into a book in the Tales series, which will be a lot of fun. And I've got some ideas. One of the questions that I sent to them on their Kickstarter survey was like, "What period do you want your game to take place in?" And you know, I gave them some options of, you know, when they could, and the sort of unanimous leaning was that they wanted it either on that day or the first summer of the apocalypse, you know, when Adrian's fortifying the school, that, you know, kind of era before he actually starts writing in the journal. So we'll see. I think we'll probably do pretty early on. But then that's pretty much it. Then I can get back to working on Diggory full. That's probably about a quarter done now. It's been time. I do not have the time to invest in work that I normally do when they're at school, and so much of my time has been taken up by filling this Kickstarter, which, you know, is a worthy process, but it slows down how quickly I can write. So I'll be glad when Diggory's awesome. What's up, Josh? What's going on, Northern New Hampshire man? The Plymouth region. Josh, you probably know this off the top of your head. Is the river that runs through Plymouth the Pemmy? Is that the Pemmy River? I feel like it is, but I'm not actually sure. I'm ready for more digs too. Yes, it is. Thought so. So for those of you who are not New Hampshire, not in New Hampshire, there's a big river up north called the Pemigewasset or Pemigewasset River. I don't know how to do the G, but everybody just calls it the Pemmy. And it's generally like a fairly rocky, wide, you know, not too fast moving river, and there's lots of like tubing that people do on it during the summer, and, you know, kind of that kind of stuff. But we've had so much rain up here, the water's been raging. A teenage girl was tubing down the river and hit the rapids in the wrong spot, and they had to like rescue her, and she wasn't in any danger of drowning, but she got like washed up on a rock in the middle of the river and couldn't. which, God, it must be terrifying. But the Pemmy's a local thing. It's, you come to New Hampshire. It's up in the White Mountains, which is like the pretty mountainous version of the state. Yeah. Oh, great swim spot. Nice. Pemmy's pretty clean too. I'm sure where I am, like I'm in South Central New Hampshire, which is, kind of the most built up area though. It's not the greatest. So like you're not supposed to like drink from the water, and you're not supposed to swim in the river that much, kind of stuff. Because there used to be a lot of like mill buildings, and specifically there was a plastics manufacturing company about probably half hour from where I am that back in like the 70s did not treat the environment in this area very well, and the river for a very long time was just not safe. And they're cleaning it up and all that jazz, but they still recommend you know being careful. Like even the tap water here, you gotta get it tested a lot. Make sure there isn't like in the groundwater. But if you go north, all that stuff is north of the big cities, the three big cities. The water's like pristine, and we have moose and deers and such. Pretty state. I am officially halfway on cleaning now. Moving at a good clip today. Once I'm done doing these, I start packing up this giant stack of boxes beside me for the eager reader they're intended for. Readers. Josh, you got oh yeah, next time we're up. We might be up on Saturday. One of my wife's best friends lives up there, and I think she's trying to have a birthday party, so we might be up there this weekend. Although I think they might go, and I need the extra time. But I'll let you know. Yeah, it's nice. Where I used to live, where we had our house over near Vermont, was very far from the industrial sections of the state. It's pretty much always been rural out there, and we were on the river, and the river was fed from a spring-fed lake, and we were only like maybe 5 miles from the headwaters, and between us and the headwaters there was nothing, just woods. So when the water got to us, it was basically just like pristine. So nice. We used to go in the river all the time. Now, not so much. The water anymore. But we do have a tiny little pool in the backyard for the kids. That's fun. It ain't much, but keeps us cool. Yeah, our old yard was so nice. It came at a cost, though. There was like nothing where we lived, nothing. And we weren't close to anything. So we were always in the car having to do stuff. And, with two little kids who are, now getting into dance and soccer and basketball and tennis and, stuff that they want to do, we were literally in the car 2 or 3 hours a day. The closest towns where stuff was happening, and it just got to the point where it was like we're not even home anymore. Like why are we here? We can't enjoy it right now. So we made the decision to move to a more urban setting. We're still in a small town, but we're now one town away from Nashua, which is a pretty big city, over 100,000 people, and we're only an hour from Boston. So this is considerably more urban. Now everything we want to do is within 10 minutes, as opposed to 30 minutes. So it used to be like, oh, we're gonna go grocery shopping. Okay, well, what else can we do? We'd shop for 2 weeks. Now it's like no big deal. Hey, Jamie. Welcome to the live chat as I work in the dice mines. Feel free to jump in, ask any questions. I'm just casually chatting as I work my fingers to the bone with the. Trying to clean up some of these dice facings. Yeah. It's different when you're saying 30 minutes. And, even with older kids, I imagine we're kind of like going back and forth and then to bringing them back and forth to school. And we had to drive a half an hour to literally do anything, right? Like there wasn't even a restaurant within 20 minutes of us. So nothing could get delivered. Everything from Amazon took an extra day or two to get there. And it just got to the point where we were out there because it was inexpensive when we bought it, and it was, it needed some work, and we had the time to do the work because we didn't have any kids. And then it stopped being convenient. So yeah, a lot of people do want the solitude. And if you're for the solitude, it is the tits. Like my wife and I, in 10 years, 15 years, would absolutely move back out there. Like when the girls are gone and they're out and they're off doing their own thing and they hate us, like, yeah, sure, let's move back to the sticks. Like we don't give a shit. We're in the car for half an hour, whatever. But at this stage in our life, we want to make things easy and also cool. Yep. Yeah, new dice. I'm working on the last few Adrian's dice for the Kickstarter. And then I got, after this set, which 12 sets right here. After these, I have the custom sets of D6s that people ordered on the Kickstarter. And there was only but I have one of those cast. So those will need to be numbered and cleaned up and polished and all that jazz. And then I have to cast one more of those because I now know what they want. And the third one, I'm still waiting on them to get back to me about what they want for a design. So they're getting out how to like order what the person might actually like. Food delivery people. Hey, you have get delivery in Montana? What color was the dice today? These were all the design from the Kickstarter. I have all three of the different Trinity style dice that I'm working on. And in the AUD Trinity, there are 3 different kinds of dice. So when you got the Locky dice, you just got 3 of the Locky design. If you got the Lacuna dice, you got 3 of the Lacuna design. But if you got the Trinity dice, then there was a die for each person in the Trinity. So I probably won't be able to see it, but here's Locky dice. They're like fiery and sparkly and really cool. This camera will not do them justice at all, but you can see like they're translucent and they've got like ribbons of fire and they sparkle and they're really cool. So case, which are like gunmetal with a gold Otis. These are nice. And then there's the Michelle dice, which are silver and gold sparkles, yellow Otis, black fairy. And then the Adrian's dice, which are glow in the dark blue with like wisps of black floating through them. And these have silver numbers. So that's today. And I'm almost done. And then these just need to be packaged up in their spiffy Tier 1 Games dice bags. And they can go in the boxes with the books to get sent out. The set that I have to finish, the custom set, they wanted a glow in the dark theme. They wanted like everything to glow in the dark. So they're cast with the same glow in the dark blue that the Adrian's dice glow. So the Adrian ones, the with the wisps of black kind of floating up and around, when they're allowed to charge under a light and then go into the dark, they glow like a kind of a cool blue color. And he wanted the dice to be cool blue, but then he wanted the numbers to also be glow in the dark, but be like, I think he used the word vomit green. So they're going to look on the surface like they're kind of off white with white numbers, and they're not going to look very fancy. I mean, they look nice, but they're not going to look like, crazy special. And then you put them under a black light or put them in the dark when they're charged, and they're going to be really awesome. It'll be a nice little surprise to show friends, especially nerdy gamer friends. 12 left. Come on, you. I do like the fiery. But if I can get all these done today, which seems very reasonable, then I'll be able to package up the remainder of the boxed sets, minus the ones that I'm waiting for the books for, which is only like 5 sets. And I'm filling the first by the tier level. So the cheaper tiers went out first because they didn't need anything like really big. And then, the next up were, the single books and then the dice only. And now I'm left with just the box sets and the box sets plus dice. And once I start filling a tier, shipping it, I'm fulfilling it by backer order, because that's how they organize it, right? So the first person who got that backer level is the first person to get it packaged and shipped. And then, technically I ship all on the same day, right? So there isn't a whole lot of difference between the order, that you break up, a tier to ship. And, day one I go to the post office, it'll be going with, the lower, earlier number of backer. So it's really not that big a deal or big a difference, but so the people who are going to have to wait a couple extra then on time that I said on the Kickstarter, they'll be the people who came to the project latest, people who backed in the last few days kind of stuff, as opposed to the people who backed on day one, which I think there was like 110 backers on the project, and I think 65 of them were on day one, something like that, which is awesome. So you do it by tier. I do it by tier, just because it's easier for me to organize it. When you get the backer reports from Kickstarter, it's a spreadsheet, and you can download the spreadsheet by tier, and it organizes all the names, all the addresses, and all the add-ons, all in one sheet. So I do that. I download the backer reports by tier, and then when I fill it, Like I get all the stuff I need ready to fill that one tier. So, for example, if you got like a signed copy of book one, right? I'll print out all of the book one tiers, addresses, and all the instructions and stuff for it, and then I'll go to my shelf here and I'll pull all of the stuff that goes into that tier, and I get all that ready, and then I have everything handy, and I just go down the line 1, 2, 3, 4. And if somebody adds an add-on to it, right, it shows me that on the report, and then I just grab the add-on as I need it. So it helps me keep my space more organized, because right now, but like you can't see, but it's already pretty chaotic in the back here. But right here is a shit show. There's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 stacks of books from 4 tall to 13 or 14 tall. So there's like at least 150 books right there stacked up, right? And there's already 14 sets of 7 here, which is another 150 books. So I have like 250 books around me. And then I've got a pile of boxes that haven't been opened yet, and then a pile of boxes that I opened and taped so I can just grab them and go. I have 2, 3, 4 shelves on, we have a big heavy duty plastic racking. I have 4 shelves that are just shipping materials, so tape, boxes, envelopes. I have poster mailer tubes. I have like all of that, packing peanuts. I have packing paper as well, to keep that all organized. And I don't normally have all that because I don't, I'm not inventorying and shipping that kind of quantity normally. But it's here now, and it's taken up a lot of space. But having my space organized, which is what I was getting at with that, allows me to maximize and keep track of stuff a lot easier. If I was just doing like, if the Kickstarter had one level and it was all like one book one, that would be way easier, right? Because I wouldn't have to work books, keeping track of different stuff. And it wouldn't be as hard to keep track of. But because I had like 9 different levels of backer with 20 different add-ons, and then swag that gets added into every order, is just it's a lot. Abigail, you had to buy your own present. I'll get it later. I think yours shipped. Pretty sure yours shipped. I think. And when I say later, I'm not talking about a lot later. I'm talking about like the matter of a couple of days. Not like, we're not talking weeks or months. We're talking, I packed yours on Tuesday and I packed theirs the previous Thursday. Like, it's not a dramatic period of time. Oop, the family's home. All right, everybody, I'm going to let y'all go. Time to go play with the kids.